ages, and I have been sort of a little tied up with things, and I am going to do Ashlesha Nakshatra one more time, because the last time that I recorded this video, there were like thousands of crickets singing in the background, and a lot of people complained about sound. So hopefully the sound is fine today, and we shall proceed with the breakdown of a very complex and a very interesting nakshatra called Ashlesha. Alright, now Ashlesha, before we begin, we must invoke Uchishti Garpati, because he is the one that gives the ultimate knowledge on astrology. So many of you have been booking my Uchishti Ganpati workshop, so you know the mantra. It's Om Hasti Pisachi Likhe Swaha. Om Hasti Pisachi Likhe Swaha. Om Hasti Pisachi Likhe Swaha. Now let us proceed and dissect the nakshatra called Ashlesha. And if somebody is listening, I hope the sound is okay, and I hope you can hear me and there is no problem, right? Like last time. So this is the ninth nakshatra, and with this, hi, can you help? Not help, sorry. Can you tell me if you can hear me? Sound is fine? Is the sound fine? Alright, let me proceed. Hopefully the sound is fine, okay? Now, this is the ninth nakshatra, and we know there are 27 nakshatras. So 27, okay, 27 divides by 3, I complete one cycle. So 9 nakshatras complete one round. So see how I was not allowed to complete Ashlesha last time, and I have to come redo it, and it's got already like 700 odd hits. But I still have to come back and redo this, because this is a very important nakshatra to break down, because it is so very complex and complicated that it is not easy to assimilate. It is not easy to break down this nakshatra. I mean, every nakshatra has its surreal component, has its mystical component, every nakshatra. But Ashlesha is complicated. Just like the serpent it represents. Now, this is the first Gandanta Nakshatra. What is a Gandanta Nakshatra? That means when the water signs culminate, Gand means not. Okay, Gand means not, and Ant is end. Now, it symbolizes that both sign and nakshatra have come into culmination. Okay, so that means that the range of this is from 1640 sidereal Cancer to 30 degrees of sidereal Cancer. Okay, so if you're doing Western calculations, this is about 24 degrees ahead the tropical signs. Okay, so now when we speak about a Gandanta Nakshatra, that means an energy vortex has culminated. That means the sign is ended as well as the nakshatra has ended. Okay. So this is very, very interesting, because this does truly speak of a wrap-up of energies and new energies coming into fruition, which we will see later on with Maga. Okay. Now, after Ashlesha is this really complicated nakshatra, and its range, as I said, 1640 of Cancer to 30 degrees of Cancer. Ruling planet is Mercury. Now, when we speak about the mental anxiety, the mental tension of Ashlesha, we can derive these significations from the two of the ruling planets. One is the moon, because of it being in Cancer, and of course the ruling planet Mercury. Now, we know that the relation between moon and Mercury are not overtly friendly. Okay, I can't read so much and get distracted. Please drop me an email. So Mercury and the moon are the quickest moving bodies. So they are like rapidly shifting around the zodiac, rapidly changing energy, So this by itself gives the Ashlesha native a kind of a angst, if I may say, angst. Okay. Now the deity of Ashlesha is Nagas. Okay, Nagas. Now, very interesting is coming up after Ganesh Chaturthi is a period known as Pitri Paksha. It's a 16 days of the dark fortnight when we pay obeisance to our ancestors. All of us who are Sanatani, this Pitri Paksha is very important, and in Pitri Paksha, whether you do Pindadan or not, there are actually 4 mantras. If you chant, you will appease the Pitris. First is Om Kuladevatayai Namaha 21 times, Om Kuladevyai Namaha 21 times, Om Nagadevatayai Namaha 21 times again, and then Om Pitrudevatayai Namaha. So, and this is 108 times. So this is immediately tells you that during the Pitri Paksha you are chanting Om Nagadevatayai Namaha. So that means there is a direct connection to the ancestors and this serpent, which in some way got distorted in the Western myths of, the serpent tempting Adam and Eve. So, very, very interesting, because this is, I will write that. I actually intend to make a video on Pitri Paksha in Hindi after this. If I have the time, I will try. Hi, Priyanka. So, the thing is that there is an immediate connection to the ancestors, right? Immediate connection to the ancestors. And also the deities are Nagas or Ahis. Nagas live in Patala. I'll get to that. I'll break down the Naga Devatas for you. Ahi is the eternal snake, right? And we know about Vasuki, the snake of Krishna. You know about Anantashesha, the Nag on which Lord Vishnu himself resides, He resides on Anantashesha, the Naga. So we've had many Nagas, these very intelligent, semi-divine beings. They are serpentine in nature. So there's very direct connection to our DNA. If you look at the DNA also looks like the caduceus actually. The caduceus is a symbol of Mercury. What the Western world has used, the caduceus, it's actually Ida Pingala going around the Sushumna, which is the central nadi. Ida Pingala going around Sushumna. Okay, and this has been taken by the medical fraternity and used as their symbol. So this immediately tells you that there's a very healing component to Ashlesha. It can be very destructive, but there's a very healing component also to Ashlesha. Now, symbol is the coiled snake. I've explained to you how every single nakshatra has a symbol. Ardra is a teardrop, right? Maga is a bed. So it's very interesting that way to break it down with symbols. So when you see a coiled serpent, you immediately realize that this has to do with Kundalini Shakti, okay, as expounded by the ancient tantrics, the Kundalini Shakti. Okay, now interestingly, many of the devatas or the gods and goddesses of Sanatan Dharma have associations with snakes or serpents. Okay, even Buddhism actually, because Buddha, when he sat under the Bodhi tree to search for the truth, was protected by a Nag Devata. Alright, so now Lord Shiva, he of course wears the ever-intelligent Vasuki around his neck, his neck which is full of halahal that he drank during the time of the churning of the Kshirasagara. And then I told you that Lord Vishnu sleeps on Adishesha or Anantashesha. And Lakshmi, his consort, his Shakti, his feminine Shakti, is right beside him. Right? And Lord Ganesha, okay, he wears a belt of serpents around his waist. So the Kundalini, literally at the lower part of his waist, Ganesha wears a belt. So immediately tells you that some heavy symbology going on with serpents. Now, also the fact, if you look at it with very basic lens, you realize that the great divine archetypes that we are speaking of, right? Brahma, Vishnu, I mean not Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Ganesh, right? They can control the serpents and their venom. Their venom. Serpents are known to have venom. So Kundalini by itself is known to have tremendous power, right? So this can become a blessing as well as a venomous substance for us. With too much power, we could misuse it, right? So everything has its, and the serpent, of course, is known for its enchantments. Like back in ancient India, we had these snake charmers, and they look the snake in the eye, and they're like, and the snake would be looking at them and looking at them. And it's said that Ashlesha natives have like snake-like eyes. They're looking at you like a snake, and how a snake charms its opponent and just staring and looking. That's what an Ashlesha native can do very well. Okay, they'll stare you, but they won't stare you with outright aggression. They'll give you these hypnotic stares, and they will mesmerize you. So it's very enchanting energy, Ashlesha. Very enchanting. If controlled correctly, it can. If mastered, this is truly a phenomenal energy to work with. Okay. Now, however, again, I'm going to emphasize that parts of the video may seem like, oh my God, she's being so harsh. She's saying all these harsh things about Ashlesha. You must understand that this is the first Gandanta sign, and this is not an easy energy to work with. Imagine working with a slithering snake, right? The snake goes slithering, and there you're like a snake charmer trying to charm it or trying to grab it by the tail. Right? You grab its tail, and then that's how supposedly they catch snakes, right? I can't see myself doing it, but that's how they catch snakes, right? The danger is palpable. The snake is slithering away like the Kundalini. That's why many people, when they embark on sadhana, they get scared because they feel this tremendous force of the Kundalini, and they're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with it. All they need to do is breathe. That's all. Now, the Rakshas Gana, Ashlesha is Rakshas Gana. I've told you there's Manusha Gana, there's Deva Gana. Deva Gana people are very, pure, pious. Not necessarily so, but this is the very mundane interpretation. Rakshas Gana, they like to get things done. They're aggressive, Yeah, there are many mantras. I think I will get to that. Okay. However, understand that there is a mesmeric quality to Ashlesha, and Ashlesha likes to entwine. Okay, entwine. It likes to embrace this Rakshas Gana. Sort of gives this force to go ahead, go entwine, and to enjoy this. How the snake just wraps itself around your body, and you're like, oh my God, the snake is hugging me. But no, the snake is not, okay? And Ashlesha can cunningly deceive for its own odds and ends, okay? Nothing to get offended if you are Ashlesha. This is just a part of the energy. What you do with it is entirely up to you. Right? And the Rakshasas are also known for their cunning, right? They're known for their cunning. When need be, they will don any persona, right? Any disguise, okay? To control the situation at hand, right? And when we think about this, we think about how Ravana came to Sita, and he disguised himself as a poor beggar. And he said, bhiksha, bhiksha, bhiksha. And then, although Sita was not allowed to go out, step out of the hut, she did, because this was an elderly beggar. So it became easy for Ravan to grab her because he used his cunning and used a disguise. Just like Surpanakha, when she met this Lakshman, She also used a disguise, right? And also in the beginning, Surpanakha became a deer, right? There's this beautiful song, um, তোরা যে যা বলিস ভাই আমার সোনার হরিণ চাই. That means that I don't care what you say, I want that golden deer. That's what Sita told Ram and Ravan. That's why they let her, they left her and they went pursuing the deer, you know. So this is all a part of Ashlesha and their cunning to adopt any mask at any given situation to control that situation, to gain mastery of that situation or those people, right? Remember that behind its hypnotic gaze, the Ashlesha native will use all its mercurial alacrity, okay, and calculative understanding to gain what it wants. Mercury, logical thinking, critical analysis, and Ashlesha, if you master that, you can master that positively, you can master that negatively. If you master that in any way, you will be so calculative, you will be so shrewd, sharp, cunning, that you will just know what you want and you will get what you want just by, maybe sometimes you need to talk slowly, talk softly, talk sweetly, give some gifts, bribing, anything, they will do it. Now, the snake repeatedly sheds its skin. So interesting. And so does Ashlesha. Repeatedly, the native reinvents himself or herself. Okay, this is something very interesting about the snake symbology. We reinvent ourselves, okay? We rebirth ourselves all the time. Also when planets are going through Ashlesha. Also when we have some important planet and that planet is in Ashlesha. Depends on where Ashlesha falls in our chart, right? Ashlesha's concern is emotion, okay? Don't forget that. It is Cancer after all, right? All that home and hurt and love and, all that sweet Cancerian feelings it has. However, the emotional sublimation, okay, like you have all these emotions, right? But you need purification, sublimation can only occur after Ashlesha stops to think of emotions as an investment. That okay, I'm going to invest, I'm going to be emotionally vested in this person because this person, gives me this. No, the deity of Ashlesha is Nagas or Ahi. And yes, with every nakshatra there is one Ganpati, and I'll get to that. No, Ganesha is not the deity of Ashlesha. Okay? Now, however, Ashlesha natives do not like to be emotionally invested if they don't see that the rewards are forthcoming or the rewards are not what they expected. We all have expectations. You, me, X, Y, Z. So if they see that the Ashlesha native realizes that, okay, I'm not able to, get what I want, then that's it. That's when they literally tune off, okay? And they are cold at times, pretty ruthless, and they slither away from any emotionally messy situation. So if it gets too emotionally demanding or it's not what they expected out of the situation or, okay, they're not being rewarded sufficiently enough, that's when they are out. They will slither away like the snake. Okay? Now, remember that they very heavily put on a persona, a public persona, and behind it they hide their real self, right? And are extremely private and secretive. Okay, when we think of the snake, the snake slithers in the ground, not like the lion. The lion just walks around and everybody knows what the lion is going to do, right? But when you think about a snake is extremely secretive in where it sits or where it it camouflages itself, or where it slithers, or where it lives. It's very secretive. So these animal totems help to identify these deep psychosomatic traits of an individual, because everything is a signifier and a signifier and a signifier, and that's how you try to get at meaning, which again is ephemeris, okay, which is it's transient. Meaning escapes us. That's when we realize that the Ashlesha native, to really pin these character traits, it can sometimes be counterintuitive. That is also there, remember that. And this they decide, the Ashlesha native, they decide, thank you, they decide what persona they will show to you, or what mask they want to don for you. Okay, are they going to be the kind, sweet person? Are they going to be the strong, set their boundary kind of person? And this goes to show that they really don't have this really hard and fast personality. That means they camouflage, and they interact with your personality. Do you understand that? They interact with your personality. That's very interesting, right? They decide what face to show you, and literally, either you take it or you leave it. You have no choice. Even if you're married to an Ashlesha native, it's oftentimes like them, their birthday, what they like, what's their favorite food. But there's a part of them that you really don't know, and that you will really never access. Okay? So, literally, thankfully, their motivation is dharma. I've told you that each nakshatra has a motivation. So, Ashlesha is motivated towards dharma, right? So that makes it very interesting, which it's a Rakshas Gana, so it's forthcoming, but its ultimate motivation is dharma, right? So as the Ashlesha native matures, if they've if they've worked with the energy, if they've understood their energy, then they move towards dharma, righteous living, okay? And which is why some Ashlesha natives work tirelessly to harness this energy and make it work not just for themselves, but for the rest of the world. Think of Aurobindo, Sri Aurobindo from Bengal, okay? He had his ascendant in Ashlesha, right? And it's so interesting because Aurobindo was, if you read his musings and his poetry on Savitri and the great Mother Goddess archetype, I mean, at times you will be stunned at the level of deep wisdom from which he operates, and it's almost going to be impossible for the normal person to truly understand Sri Aurobindo. Yet, there is a simplicity about him. There's a simplicity, there's a purity about him, right? Their Shakti, every nakshatra has a Shakti, right? Like Kritika nakshatra has Dahana Shakti. So, Shakti of Ashlesha is Visha Ashleshana Shakti. Visha Ashleshana Shakti, right? Now, this is the power to embrace the poison, and also speaks of the desire to overcome enemies. Now, I just told you Sri Aurobindo is Ashlesha ascendant. Now, listen to what he has to say. Our actual enemy is not any force exterior to ourselves, but our own crying weakness, our cowardice, our selfishness, our hypocrisy, and our purblind sentimentalism. So, sentimentalism, however you want to say it. So imagine Here you have the understanding of enemy, because Ashlesha understands enemy and overpowering the enemy very well. Is not any force exterior to ourselves, right? Not something outside. It's inside of us. But our own crying weaknesses. So again, that Cancerian, that softness, that he's looking through the lens of Mercury. Mercury's, calculative understanding that it's the softness, this crying weaknesses are cowardice. Again, many people do say that Cancer is a place of cowards, because that is the fall of Mars, right? That's why Mars is in fall. Mars is debilitated. Cancer. Mars is exalted in Capricorn. So here, and of course, when you look at Ashlesha, the degree is 28 degrees of Cancer, where Mars is in fall. Is debilitated. Mars at 28 degrees of Cancer. And what did I tell you was the span of Ashlesha? 60, 40 to 30. So 28 degrees is actually in Ashlesha, which is the fall of Mars. So there is this cowardice that, we understand that comes with this, the understanding of cowardice, understanding of selfishness. Because Cancer can be selfish, and Aurobindo was not selfish. I mean, even if he started out, he transmuted all of this within himself, right? Because he lived by his, he literally lived by his ideals, Now, very interesting is that this has been spoken like a true Ashlesha native, right? A true Ashlesha native, dissecting with mercurial perceptiveness, because you need that analysis, you need that critical mind, okay? Because too much of emotions, what can they do? They can cloud your understanding, your ability to dissect a situation, right? But what you have here is Sri Aurobindo dissecting all kinds of Cancerian themes, typical Cancerian themes, right? Like weakness, sentimentalism. He's dissecting all of this, right, with the discerning Vajra of Mercury. This makes it very interesting. And in this Kethi repertoire, we can sense the Tikna quality of Ashlesha, piercing our very soul. So I said that, some nakshatras are Tikna nakshatras, some nakshatras are Mridu nakshatras, like Mrigashira, soft, okay? Some are Ugra nakshatras, like Bharani. But Ashlesha is Tikna, piercing, right? Even Aurobindo, who is a realized saint, has this perceptible Tikna quality to him, right? Piercing our very soul with his words, you're like, oh my God, you're forced to listen to this person. However, the Sattva Guna shines through Ashlesha has Sattva Guna. Guna and Ganas are different. Guna is Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Okay. Now, Ashlesha Sattva. So their Sattva Guna shines through his Advaitic doctrine. Listen to this. The divine truth is greater than any religion or creed or scripture or idea or philosophy. So the versatility, the philosophical mindscape, the passion, the greatness of the Ashlesha resonates through the great personality of Sri Aurobindo. Okay? And dosha is kapha of phlegm. So water retention and water related complications. Orientation is adhomukhi. It means adhomukhi looks downwards. It means that it when the moon is in this nakshatra, all the activities that happen under the ground, you can really scrutinize those activities, and you can work with those activities, right? And you can carry them out, like boring a well, okay, digging a tunnel, right? All these governments go around digging for the metro, go around digging. If they concentrate and work with the moon cycles in Ashlesha, they'll get more work done, constructing subways, okay, constructing basements, digging, also landing a plane, which is like, going down, landing a plane, climbing down a mountain. Imagine you trekked up the Sayadris, or you trekked up Mount Everest, say. Okay. Then you're going down, you're down. If you're going down and the moon is in Ashlesha, chances are you do well, right? So these are interesting things to think about. Oh my God, what is all this? Is somebody spamming my live? Is somebody spamming? Because if you are, I'm going to block you from my channel. And I'm going to delete your comments, okay? So no spamming, please. And no nonsense talk as well, okay? Just listen, or you don't need to listen at all. Diving. So if you're teaching your kid to dive, when the moon is in Ashlesha, or even Mars in Ashlesha, you can teach your kid to dive. Very good, okay? Swimming as well. It's underwater, okay? Caste is Mlecha. Mlecha is, it means an outcast, somebody who's not part of the status quo. So, again, the Ashlesha native may feel this in their life, in their experiences. But, they're treated as an outcast. Even in their family, sometimes this can happen. Animal is male cat. We just had a male cat go by, and he's right here. So there's a male cat listening to this broadcast, as well as he is the totem for Ashlesha. Color is blackish red. Blackish red. Body parts are joints, nails, ears. Okay. Now activity is active. It's a very active nakshatra. So Rakshasa Gar makes it active. Sattva Guna makes it a bit, saintly or tuned into human, other worldly frequencies. I was going to say inhuman frequencies. I know that didn't make sense. Element is water. That's why the kapha imbalance. Direction is south. Sounds di, do, de, do. So moon in nakshatra, Ashlesha nakshatra natives, your name should begin with di, do, de, do. Okay, de, do, right? Dinesh, Derek, if you look for an American name, yeah, Do, I don't know. Okay, root word is shlish. To adhere, to attach, to join, to unite, to embrace. Okay, this is what it means. Now, interestingly, the padas of Ashlesha begin with Sagittarius Navamsa. So, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. No planet is exalted, nothing. It's not even moon trikona of any planet. Second Navamsa is, of course, Capricorn Navamsa, which is ruled by Saturn. And you have Mars exalted and Jupiter debilitated. So say you have a Jupiter in Pada 2 of Ashlesha, although that Jupiter is exalted. But that Jupiter, because Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, but that Jupiter can be under some kind of duress or lose dignity, because not only is it in that Saturn's domain, and Saturn and Jupiter are not friends in Vedic astrology, it's also because it is in this Navamsa of Capricorn where Jupiter is debilitated. See how it works. Okay, a Mars, for instance, that you have in Pada 2. This Mars is stronger than one would, like it, or one would not like it. It's a strong Mars. Why? Because it is in that Capricorn Navamsa, and Mars is exalted in Capricorn. So you see, even though Cancer is a sign where traditionally Mars is in fall or debilitated, right? But still here we see, wow, this works fine. This Mars is doing better than expected in Cancer. Why? Because this is Pada 2 of Ashlesha, which is Capricorn Navamsa. And Mars is exalted in Capricorn. So there, bam, easy, simple. Then you have Aquarius Navamsa. Again, no planet is, exalted in Aquarius, ruled by Saturn, Mutrikona of Saturn. So having that Saturn here would be, nice, although Saturn and Moon are bitter enemies. And having that Saturn in Cancer is almost like a small panati all the time, pulling at you, or like a mild Sadisati effect. Even those people born with Saturn Moon conjunction, they're sort of experiencing the Sarasati relentlessly. Now Pisces, of course, the last Navamsa, mean Rashi. You have Venus exalted, so powerful Venus here. If you have Venus in Pada 4 in Ashlesha, it's good. And Mercury debilitated. So if you have that Mercury in that Pada 4, mean Rashi Pada, then that Mercury could be more imaginative than rational, right? So this is how you break down planets in a nakshatra, literally. So easy, right? Now Hora Shastra, in chapter 94, verse 11 and 13, it says, a boy or girl born in 2nd, 3rd, 4th pada, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces padas, destroy the mother-in-law. If born in 1st, 2nd, 3rd of Mula, they destroy the father-in-law. I'll get to Mula. So, therefore, suitable measures should be taken at the time of marriage. No evil effects if the husband has no elder brothers. Okay, so remember this. Now let's get straight to the astronomy part of Ashlesha. I love this section. Constellation of Hydra, the water snake, consists of 5 stars. Epsilon Hydrae, Delta Hydrae, Mu Hydrae, Rho Hydrae, Sigma Hydrae, Zeta Hydrae. And Zeta Hydrae is inside the head. So you have all these 5 ... stars. If you look at the stars, if you look at a Hydra constellation, so you have ... 5, like a face, and you have that bam in the middle, 1 dot, and that is Zeta Hydrae. That's inside the head. Situated on the southern claw of the crab. Now, some of the significations given by Menelaus is good for writing, astrology, public affairs. Bam. I was also going to make this video. 28 degrees of Cancer is actually known as an astrological degree. But yeah, for some other time. So our principal star, which is Acubans or Sertan, Alpha Cancri. Now, Ashlesha's concerns are strictly personal. Right? It rarely has a rational, altruistic, or conservation, and is not conservation oriented. So you're like, okay, is this benefiting me? Am I getting something out of it? Then I'm going to go there. Otherwise, no. I'm going to leave the tap on and brush because I like the sound of water when I'm brushing. Or I'm just going to leave the light on because I can't bother to turn it off. It's as long as I don't pay the bills, right? So they don't think about conservation. Although, when you think of Cancer, we always think of this sort of conservation energy, right? Cancer wants to preserve, look after, right? But here, Ashlesha, it look after itself, but, doesn't care about global warming per se. It doesn't care about clean living per se, unless they're sick and they need to do this, or they are trying to spearhead a movement where these things are needed for them to follow. That's the only time they will literally do it. Otherwise, they're not interested, really. Loves hoarding. Okay, so we have this Cancerian hoarding. We know about how Cancer, Taurus, they love to hoard, right? So this is something that Ashlesha loves. Stealing as well, scrimping, saving, and obsessively reusing personal items. So like a toothbrush, they're not going to give it up. They just keep using it, keep using it. Even if they have abundant personal wealth. Like the snake squeezes the life out of its prey, the Ashlesha, native tend to squeeze out every bit from their belongings and from people and situations. So, Ashlesha, is the entwiner, and its energy encompasses all serpent-like associations of clinging, creeping, and poison, and of embracing and sexual union. Again, hypnotic. Their eyes are hypnotic. You can't escape them. Okay, and they can be very poisonous with their mouth, or if the mercury is badly placed, they can be quite harsh when speaking with someone. They can be like ruthless in what they say, seductive, and will squeeze the victim and suffocate. So the biggest challenge of Ashlesha is to release the addictions and obsessions to sensory attachments, like the material world and all of its little shenanigans. Ashlesha native, you need to release all these addictions, okay? Porn addiction, coke addiction, anything. Very active mentally. So you have to keep yourself mentally occupied, otherwise you go nuts. I'm not joking. If you harness this mercurial alacrity, you will have a much mystical spiritual talent, and you can even reach moksha. After all, your motivation is dharma. The Kundalini energy is the primordial gift of this asterism. So awakening that Kundalini energy, it's really important. Buddha, none other than the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, was born with Ashlesha as his birth nakshatra on a Purnima. Okay, and he was protected by a king cobra when he sat under a Bodhi tree to discover the great truth. I told you in the beginning, right? And during the wars of the gods and demons, the gods propitiated and made proper offerings to Ashlesha and vanquished their enemies. That's why Ashlesha has this enemy destruction ability. Ashlesha gives you the power to absorb the poison and spit it out on your enemies. You get all this poison and trauma from the world, and then you hold it in your tongue, and then you spit it out on the next person going by, or somebody who pisses you off. Ashlesha is the birth nakshatra of Ketu. So Ketu in Ashlesha is a good placement. Nagas can go where no one can. They live in Patala region, the netherworlds, and in holes where no one can fit, right? Both Mercury and Moon symbolize the mind in Vedic astrology. Their blend makes the mind penetrate to places unimaginable. You know how the snake will fit into this little crevice and then suddenly come out and, throw its venom in you. And you didn't know the snake was there. Oh my God, a snake is there. Snake is hidden, and you go around, when you're trekking or you're going down the mountain, and the snake can be hidden anywhere. The Ashlesha native is literally like that. You don't know when they're striking. You don't know where they're hidden. You don't know what their plans are, and they will get you. And they also can think of things that normally another person would not think of. Why? Because they have this ability, like the Nagas, to penetrate mysteries and go to places where other people are like, what? Are you serious? But they will get to it if they need to, if they feel motivated to do that. You can't motivate them per se. If they feel motivated, they will do that. Okay, they will literally do that. So that's something about Ashlesha natives. Shiva's name is Chandraketu, and he has a crescent moon. Shiva has a crescent moon on his forehead and a snake coiling around his neck. I told you Vasuki. Symbolic. What is this symbolic of? Mind cannot be totally extinguished. Definitely not in our 3D world. Okay. We say we've gained nirvana, we are in samadhi. Do we mean that this monkey brain has completely been silenced? No, we don't mean that. Even Shiva wears the crescent moon, right? A part, albeit sublimated, continues to function even though the whole being is in samadhi. So this is also something that is interesting. Shiva is Chandraketu, right? And he has that beautiful crescent. It tells you that mind is always going to be active. Part of Mercury will always continue. That's why Mercury moves with the sun, the leader of the solar system. That no matter how deep you are in samadhi, you cannot escape Mercury. You cannot escape the mind. Thoughts will come, right? Now, things favorable. What are the things favorable? When the moon is, or say one of your planets, important, right? When these planets or the moon is in Ashlesha, 5 lawsuits, poisoning, like if you've been poisoned, work with that. If you want to poison someone, I don't suggest you do that. Scheming against enemies, carnality, as in sexual craziness, Kundalini yoga, gambling. Yeah, Ashlesha natives love gambling. Pest control, sexual activity, which can be used for, which can just be banal fornication or can be used for spiritual sublimation. Disposing of useless items like cleaning, like very Virgoan here. Mercury rulership again, cleaning, keeping things clean, neat, tidy. Don't do. Deal with cash. Don't like go out of the house with a ton of cash. Or cash is pretty much outdated, but still. Begin new activities. Don't get married for sure. And no loans. No giving a loan or taking a loan. Now remember that Ashlesha natives, they can have a conflict with the guru, right? Problems with opposite sex. So as I said that, knowing the Ashlesha person it's almost impossible. They're extremely mysterious. Even if you've lived with them, you've been by their side, you love them, there's still a part of them that you don't know. And it could hurt you. But I guess it's just something you have to accept, Sudden animal attacks can happen. Sudden dog bite, sudden snake bite, sudden complications. Accidents, bad eyesight, speech problems, especially that Mercury is conflicted in your chart. Pada for Meen Rashi people, Pisces Navamsa people, you guys are lucky. And especially if you have the Venus there, chances are you will make a lot of money, maybe even from the ancestors. So Vijaya Ganapati is the 14th of the 32 Ganapatis, and Vijaya means victory. Okay, and he is the Ganapati connected to Ashlesha. Now, Mars in Ashlesha can be very harmful, except in that Pada 2, Capricorn Navamsa. Because Mars is in fall, I explained that to you. It's a complicated Mars, okay? So, and if this is say in the 8th house or say in the 12th, it can cause complications, okay? Now, when I watch this, there's this beautiful program on Netflix, which is actually a series of short films. 4 short films that have been made by really talented filmmakers, and they have created these stories being inspired from the short stories of Satyajit Ray, the auteur filmmaker, okay, from Bengal. So Satyajit Ray has made many profound films, but he's also, written a lot of short stories, detective stories, and what have you. So he wrote this story called Bahurupi, which they adapted for screen, and I must say it's very interesting. Bahurupi, when I watched this, Bahurupi means somebody with many forms. And when I watched Bahurupi, it made me think of Ashlesha. The native literally learns to disguise himself as different people, and ultimately, and then of course he finds a sort of a Muslim Peer Baba, a Fakir Baba, Peer Baba, those wise Muslim men. And he goes ahead and he goes and tells the Baba that after he's done many um, disguises, and he's gone and he's met this Baba, and he said, what can you tell about me? And this Baba does face reading, this saint, this Muslim guy. So he says that, I can't feel you. This face feels like a mask. So at the end's quite interesting, of course, and he puts on the face of a wanted criminal, and he goes to meet this same Pir Baba, and again the Pir Baba literally knows who he is, tells him his name, literally breaks him down, and he says, no, I'm not that guy, I'm this guy. And then he says, this is a mask, and I'll show you, I'll take it off. And he tries to take off that mask, and he can't. And this is one of Satyajit Ray's things, that he loved to play with the surreal. He loved to play with the surreal. There's always this supernatural entity, almost like, if you see Tarkovsky, also Tarkovsky loves this treatment. There's always this sublimation of the human experience that we go through in his work. Watch it. It's called Ray. It's, I think, the third story in Ray Netflix. Ray is a series made, consists of 4 films. So Bahurupi, do watch that. And the concept of Bahurupi, the concept of disguises, it originates in Ashlesha. So Ashlesha natives cannot but help being Bahurupis, right? Now also chakra that it activates is Anahata Chakra. So the heart connection exists, right? What we can see with Sri Aurobindo, the Anahata activation. And tree is Champaka tree. So when the moon is in Ashlesha, if you light the incense of Champak, or if you offer Champak flowers to Nag Devata, it's very important, and especially during the Pitri Paksha time that's coming. So very interesting that in Bengal we have a snake goddess called Monusha, right? Monusha. And she's known as the Serpent Goddess, and some say she is Shiva's daughter, but she actually has an outright feud with Shiva. And she was also an outcast, actually, because she was denied godhood and her rightful place in the Hindu pantheon. So for that, she literally took on Shiva, none other than Bholenath himself, and took him as an opponent. And then we have the story of Behula and Lokhindar. Okay, Behula and Lokhindar. So Behula and Lokhindar is possibly one of the greatest love stories ever written. And because Behula was in love with Lokhindar, and Lokhindar was a husband, and Lokhindar died because Monusha, the serpent goddess, cursed him, because his father would not pray to Monusha, he prayed to Shiva. And the journey of Behula and her complete spiritual sublimation and purification to appease Monusha, and how Monusha finally, so happy with her, had to resuscitate and bring back Lokhindar from the dead. So, it's beautiful, the love story of Behula and Lokhindar, which is actually a complete twin flame story. And one day I shall tell you all about it, but it's powerful. Now mantra. All the people who were asking me for mantra, Ashlesha natives. This is a very nice mantra that you can do. Om Reem Shreem Kleem Aim Aim Manasa Devyai Swaha. Okay, and if you pray to Monusha, Monusha is a form of the Nagas again. So this is, and I have actually a beautiful article on Monusha, because I went around researching this tribal goddess, and I wanted to do a beautiful documentary on her rites and rituals, and which never quite happened, but hopefully it will. You never know. But yeah, and it was nice talking to you about all of these very, very interesting things that we just did. Okay, yeah. Yeah, another thing that I almost forgot to tell you is, who is this person writing yeah, no one psycho and no one brings bad luck. Please don't write such nonsense, okay? It's absolute nonsense. No one brings bad luck. They are very amazing people, like I already explained, realized saints. The Buddha himself, okay, Shakyamuni Buddha himself had his birth nakshatra as Ashlesha. So don't talk nonsense. Don't disrespect people. Please go do it in your own channel. Start your own nakshatra videos and do it there, not here. I love Ashlesha natives. They are very complex characters. I love to work with them. However, one thing I wanted to tell you that I completely missed out. Some of the significations of the fixed star that we were talking about right then. Yes, I mean, do not disrespect anyone. No one deserves to be disrespected, okay? Everybody is beautiful and everybody is here for a reason. If you so hate Ashlesha, then please start your own channel, start your own shows and talk shit or talk bad stuff. I don't care. I'm not going to go on your live and comment there. So please don't do that on mine. Now, I was just about to say that, listen, Ashlesha natives are oftentimes born wanderers, okay, born wanderers. Unnecessary travels can totally deplete you, so be careful. There could be a wickedness, yes, what this person is, hell-bent on emphasizing, but there's a bit of wickedness in all of us, right? Causes anguish to others, avoids tax. So Ashlesha natives out there, pay your taxes, can participate in illegal activities, spends money for evil purposes, total sensualist, and underhanded activities can happen. So a lot of dons, a lot of these, very interesting to see actually big mafia bosses. And if they have this kind of like something important in Ashlesha, something important happening there. However, not very resilient to diseases. So take care of your health, Ashlesha. Okay, especially this nakshatra falls in your 6th house. Bam, take care. And you have that Mars there. Okay, take care. You can tend to put on weight. Kapha imbalances of also as water retention can seriously be a problem. Can be a good politician, by the way. Very good politician, very good statesman. And if they have a good combination of Sun, Jupiter and Mars, bam, good politician. Good orators. That mercurial ability has to pay off somewhere. Good orators. They never reveal their POVs. So filmmakers with Ashlesha nakshatras, as the birth nakshatra, moon sign, moon nakshatra, sorry, they will possibly create these really crazy films where you cannot really gauge the POV of the director. You have the clear and cut director, like you have that Scorsese, completely linear, straight. Ashlesha directors are not going to be like that. Adhumukhi, underground, symbolizes the unconscious. Remember, I said they're Adhumukhi, so look downwards. So do anything that has to do with things downwards, like boring a well, flying, landing a plane, and all that. So this can also mean that Adhumukhi symbolizes our shadows, okay, also the psyche and also the dark side, right? So mesmeric, hypnotic, sneaky, manipulative, Kundalini energy, and the foundation for Kundalini energy. And Ashlesha is also very hardcore foundational energy because it's after all Cancer, right? However, do not be hypercritical, not especially not to your children, because Ashlesha natives can be hypercritical. Um, Yes, exactly. I love Ashlesha just as much as you love Ashlesha, okay? I am Satavisha, but I love Ashlesha because I love complex things. I love things that just not an open book. Just something intriguing, something mysterious, right? Um, don't be hypocritical parents. Moody, moon, speech Mercury. So when you are moody, you can speak harshly to people. Harsh speech, I've said, that can sting, like the serpent sting with your harsh speech. Don't do that. Mental instability can occur. Worry, fear, melancholia, all of this. Temper, anger, and Mars especially. Sorry, here. Excuse me. If it's your fourth or eighth house, 12th house, enemies also can just pop up. Can bring misery to mothers, pada 1 to 3. Okay? Cannot tolerate humiliation. So never humiliate an Ashlesha native. Never tell them you're good for nothing, or you can't do this, you can't do that, or you're nonsense, you're just crap. Yeah, very nurturing. Very nurturing. Excuse me. Think of the great saint called Sri Aurobindo. Think of how nurturing he was. He's a true nurturer. Okay, I'm going to end it now. I think that I have got a bug in my room suddenly. Uh, Sensitive nervous system, Tratak and Brahmari is a must. Also, Anulom Vilom. Be realistic about things. Don't practice self deception. Forget deceiving others, don't deceive yourself. And don't try to diet because you really can't diet, okay? Masters of deception and manipulation, yes, hardcore. The origins of schizophrenia, the disease, can be found here. Now, what is schizophrenia? It develops when there is an imbalance of a neurotransmitter called dopamine and possibly also serotonin in the brain. They seem out of sorts, anxious, lacks focus. So, Ashlesha native mental health, you've got to be out there. You've got to be out there. You've got to get the help you need. Okay. Schizophrenia originates in this nakshatra. So when I said no, it's not an easy nakshatra to deal with, I didn't mean it. So, beautiful Gang Ganapataye Namaha is a mantra that you can do. Vijay Ganapati, I told you the 14th form of Ganapati is associated to this nakshatra. But just Gang Ganapataye Namaha or Uchishta Ganapati, Om Hasti Pisachi Likhe Swaha. Om Hasti Pisachi Likhe Swaha. Or you can even say Om Hasti Pisachi Likhe Swaha. So, thank you very much. I will be back more often, hopefully. See you soon. Take care. Bye.